It is very easy to look at this Super Mario Brothers movie and see the shadow of the Lego movie. I'm sure when they were pitching this in the studios, this was one of the big things they kind of went for. Oh, we're going to do the Lego movie, but Super Mario Brothers. And on its head, that's not a bad idea. There's nothing wrong with that, and I think as a pitch that works. Obviously, you got Chris Pratt. You also have Princess Peach and the Wild style have kind of similar roles. In general, this idea of like going through another world, like it's all very simple, and like storytelling 101, but you take the basics and you build this interesting world on it and it can work. And I think more or less visually, the Mario Brothers movie works really, really, really well. It has a really, really, really like aggressively stylized, not necessarily stylized the same way like Puss in Boots or like Into the Spider-Verse are stylized, but stylized in the way that like there's an aesthetic that this world has, and the different worlds kind of look a little different. The characters run and jump around, kind of like you'd expect a Mario character to run and jump around. I know that's not really selling it as like the Mario's looks like Mario, but that is something that like looking back at different video game movies, you take for granted that sometimes it's just nice to see the things look like the things that they're supposed to look like. I think in general, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of shots where it's like there's so much stuff happening, and I don't know what to focus on. But there's a lot of stuff in the background that I know I'm kind of missing. But overall, the action in this movie is pretty incredible, and like some of the I don't want to say long take because there's no camera. Well, I mean there's a camera, but it's not like a actual practical thing. But these really long, no edit, the kind of choreographed fight scenes or like driving scenes, all of that are pretty impressive. Visually, there's a lot going on. It's very entertaining to look at. I think a child will really like this. And that's not to say that I don't think they're like that. I'm not saying like, oh, only a child will like this. But I'm saying like, if you have a kid who likes Secret Life of Pets and Minions and the other Illumination movies because they are just bright and they seem pretty, like well animated and well put together, as far as like entertaining kids movies, they will probably like this too. I feel like a lot of it, the finer points of it will be lost on them if they don't really know that much about Super Mario Brothers. But just overall, as a kids movie, it's fun. And I do think they went really hard on some things that it's cool. Like, overall, all the pieces of this, like, the action, obviously very good. The design of the characters, I think, really works. I think everybody looked like a little bit different from usual. Like, they had, like a little bit more texture on their overalls or their hair or whatever, but more or less everybody looked about as good as you can expect. I think all the voice actors are pretty good. I do think maybe we were a little hard on Chris Pratt originally. I think his voice in that first trailer just didn't sound very good, and like I don't think they picked a great sound to be his first Mario sound he's gonna make. But like when he's doing Mario-y stuff, sounds great. And when he's doing like this Mario character, I think that's fine, right? Like, because the way it works is he can kind of turn it on and be more Mario-y. And then he also has this kind of Brooklyn, but it's not just Chris Pratt. There's a character there. I wouldn't say it's as distinct as, say, Jack Black's Bowser or some of these other guys who I don't even recognize. Like Fred Armisen's in there somewhere. I'm like, I think I know who he was. But like those guys you get lost in. But with most of these guys, Keegan-Michael Key is Toad, right? You can listen to it and like listen for it and hear the Keegan-Michael Key in there, or Anya Taylor-Joy. You can hear it in that Peach. But you don't lose the character. You're still getting something that is more than just a, standard famous person doing a voice role kind of thing. And I think Chris Pratt also does that. I think Chris Pratt, he did a very good job. As someone who kind of knows Mario, but is not the biggest Mario fan, I played Galaxy, I never played Odyssey. I didn't play a lot of the games. I played a lot of Super Smash Brothers and a lot of stuff like that. I think I got most of there's tons of references and things like that, but not just references. They did a really good job of working parts of the game, different mechanics, different areas, different hazards, things you would expect to see in a Super Mario Brothers game, moves you would expect to do. They worked them all very faithfully into the movie. And, sometimes it's not supernatural. You're watching it like, oh, that's probably from something. But for the most part, like, it works. It feels like it belongs there. And I think as a Super Mario Brothers fan and a fan of Nintendo video games, all that stuff, it pays off. I think everybody's gonna have a good time with it for that reason. I will say, my biggest problem, two big problems. One, it has two needle drops that it absolutely cannot handle. One, because it has been done to death for some reason over the last 2 years, maybe. And it's not that I even think this one's that bad either. I don't think this is the worst version of that needle drop, but I do think it's like, why do we keep doing this? Just pick something new. The other one, I have a feeling, based on something we read today, is going to show up in Guardians 3, and I have a feeling the Guardians 3 version is going to just knock the other one out of the water. Like, it's just funny because it's got two big kind of song moments in it, and they are both either moments that have kind of been overdone over the last couple of years, or ones that are going to show up in other stuff in the future that is known for its really good needle drops. This part isn't that important. The more important part is, it really feels like they took the Lego Movie story and just kind of changed a couple of things, right? But the thing that I think it's easy to take for granted for when you talk about the Lego Movie is the idea that, like, yes, it is a very simple story, and it has the, fancy dressing of all the Lego worlds and Batman and all that stuff. One level below that, there is an awareness. There is something more, right? And I think you, as a viewer of the Lego Movie, were bought in on the visuals. Oh my God, these visuals are incredible. And oh, look, it's all these people we love, right? Chris Pratt, when he was the most popular guy in the world. Elizabeth Banks, Will Arnett, like a lot of people really liked Will Ferrell. But then beyond that, you were like, oh, this is kind of funny. And you know what? This is kind of a take on some of the rest of these kind of hero, chosen one stories. And it doesn't necessarily have something to say, but it is like smarter than this material needs to be. I think that's that was what we thought of the Lego Movie when it came out. I think this movie knows what that looks like, and it gets some of those things right. But at the same time, it moves at an incredible pace. It's like a video game with no cutscenes. There's just no time to decompress and go like, okay, what are the stakes here? What's the story? What are these characters feeling? And it's all just boom, boom. We gotta go there. Okay, let's go there. There's a couple moments where they like slow down a little bit and go like, wow, this place is cool. But I just feel like there were a couple of beats missing in this plot that are where Mario's character develops and where Mario and Peach have like a difference of opinion or something like that, and they just didn't have that. It's like they took a 2.5 hour movie and cut all that stuff out, so you just have action scenes, and it really is like just action. And on one hand, the action is incredible. All the things about the production and design I love all the references to all the Mario stuff, and I think all the voice actors are really good. But on the other hand, it's like it just feels like it's missing something, and I don't think it is helped by the fact that it is very similar in pitch to the Lego Movie, a movie that did all that stuff really well and got that last part. So overall, like, I'm not saying, I still think most people will probably enjoy seeing this, especially in theaters. I'm just thinking, like, this is not, for me, this humongous revelation that something like Lego Movie was. Honestly, or even like Dungeons and Dragons, which just came out, not to compare to game-related movies as if they're anything like each other, but like Dungeons and Dragons is one of those movies where it's like, it knows exactly where all those beats land, and there's a point where the heroes go, oh, we lost, we gotta learn our lesson or whatever, and then they overcome that, and there's challenges, and this movie just doesn't have that. Mario just does it, and he's like, it's fine, but it's weird, and I don't dislike the movie, but I find that part of it very strange. I do think Jack Black is very funny. I think everything he did worked. I think everything Toad was doing was fun. At the end of the day, it's like, why are we even bothering with this Mario guy? I guess he's from Brooklyn, so that's important. But yeah, I do think it will make a lot of money. We will get sequels, we will get spin-offs and stuff. But beyond that, I don't know. 3.5 stars maybe. It's fun, it's cool looking, and it beats the pants off the old Mario movie. And it just really does look incredible.